discussion.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so do we need them, I mean, it sounds like we're all.
Yeah, unless you have any other changes, yeah, I'd love just a vote that you would consider moving that to the
Oh, I
full
just,
board
since
for the
Rachel,
21st.
since Rachel's here, I mean, this is something that the library board's interested in doing.
We brought this up, I don't know, about a year ago, the last time the village brought it up, and the library board was very interested in
Okay.
pursuing, and I've inherited some of the positions that we have and some of the structure, and I very much am interested, so I would lobby pretty hard with the library board that, we should find a way to fund this and make this go through.
Okay, great. Thanks. So 3-0?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
with
Okay.
the suggested-
With this, yeah,
Same-
and I'll make those changes for the 21st.
Perfect.
All right, so we have 10 minutes to get through the appointment timeline, so let me just put that in my packet.
What page is that?
It starts at 55.
Thank you.
55? Yep.
So I had, met with Sarah to kind of go through the appointment timeline. My only sort of feedback would be, is that, two things. One, it says transportation and parking analysis communication
Oh, I'm
plan
sorry.
at the top of that. So we can change that. And then also, I think we ran into some challenges, especially with a new president, and so I think having like a second communication timeline of sort of what to have as is that in there? And I just missed
It's
it.
not, so ideally I would propose to come back every year with kind of a communication plan outline like this, as dates would change and potentially, we have new board members or new presidents, you know, each year that can change. So, part of this was really, Diane and I are working on outlining what our 2020 looks like, which is starting to ramp up very quickly. And so like, you know, if we are having a special JP&L meeting, what does that look like? So all of a sudden we don't have this like 5-week period before June 1st that we're trying to appoint people so that they can take office, for June. So, ideally then I would bring back a timeline like this, every year, for approval, cause it could potentially change in 2021, the years that a president is up. So this was kind of just based off of how we had done it, last year.
I mean, I thought last year JP&L looked at them and narrowed them and then asked the committee chairs who they would recommend rather than the other way around.
I think it was,
We have that meeting and.
yeah.
We had that.
Well,
meeting
we
in
went
there.
through them
Yeah.
and then we said, well, send them back to the committee
Yeah.
to get feedback.
Yes.
But I think we did somewhat suggest, like there was a couple people that we kind of said no to, and then had, 5 people that we sent back, and I remember this correctly, we had like, a handful of people that we sent back to committee and said, okay, we like all of them.
Yeah,
You
we think all
choose.
of them are good, you pick,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So this 320, the village clerk meets with the village president and JPL to review submitted and current applications. Couldn't that be the whole committee go over
I
them?
think that was what we did.
I think that'd be better.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot, that was a good meeting we had.
Yeah, it was.
And then we could come back on 423 to see what's back and just reaffirm what's going on.
I think also, kind of similarly on that note, that as we have openings and you have sent me applications, if we could maybe send that to the entire JP&L committee so that everybody on JP&L has the visibility to who's applied, who has an open application for that vacancy. So that way you're not like digging for who is that person and kind of where did that come from.
I mean, I think, and I remember that we talked about HRC and how I felt strongly we did have to interview people, although we had HRC interview people.
I think that's why I reversed it, so that they would look at it with things like HRC, you know, to be able to provide the recommendation. And it may work fine if we look at it first, and then as long as we have it obviously planned out a little further ahead of time. So I'm okay either way.
Okay, well, Mike and I were you ever on JPNO when we interviewed people?
I got interviewed.
That's right, you did. I mean, so we've been through both ways.
Yeah.
There was some sense that the interviews didn't really get us too much, but you know, there were times where it made a difference to see somebody face to face. So
Right.
I'm not sure I'm ready to completely,
Okay.
I mean, I think that's an issue we should talk full board about.
Yep.
You know, do we wanna,
Right.
still interview, or do we wanna you know, if we go through the process, I mean, maybe if we do the same winnowing of the 5 people, I don't know, I
Yeah.
haven't really thought it through, but.
And it, you know, like I said, this is really just to provide kind of a guideline right now, so that I can be prepared, and all of a sudden it's not March and I'm scrambling.
Right.
That's all
Yeah,
I know we have a lot of policy decisions to discuss on this.
Right.
And interviews definitely was part of them. So, and I believe we're trying to bring it back before the end of the year, so, I mean, we don't have to refer this to the full board until we do that, but I just wanted to start getting the conversation out there of what, cause obviously, as you can see, there's work to it, so.
So the 320, well, yeah, somewhere interviews could be possible.
Yep.
In this after 320, before the 420. Either somewhere in March and April.
Yep. And we can
this-
move some of those dates up if that's the choice to do interviews,
Right.
that's fine.
So I guess also though, how does that work if you're interviewing candidates for committees in March? I don't know, it's a hard.
There's a lot of applications too.
Right, and I just think it's, you know, and then what happens if in April you have a new JPNL and or a new
Right.
president, and then it's sort of irrelevant.
Yeah, other years it really
Right,
could be, you've
like,
got all
you're
the
like,
lame
oh great,
duck.
so we spent all this time interviewing all these candidates and now no one likes
And we
them.
have had situations where someone was interviewed by one group,
Right.
but then there was a second we
Yeah, I
have had
was wondering
situations
how
like
that
that.
would be.
Yeah, it does.
Ideally, it would be better to have it all wrapped up before the election.
Right.
Some, but
Yeah,
then
it for me, it's completely complicated timeline because it's that
it
change of
overlaps,
hands
yeah, right,
potentially,
instead
correct.
of-
Right.
But the timing of it is very, and we are, what's also difficult for our office is we are in the middle of board review and liquor licensing and wrapping up the April election. So, part of this was really like, those are our 3 busiest months. And if
Right.
we're gonna have additional meetings, I just want us to kind of have that direction.
Could we do like a speed dating thing where like all applicants,
I know.
you know, with, like sort of kidding, but
Well, yeah,
kind of not.
that was one of my suggestions of having a big event.
Right.
If you're interested, actually, if we had a big event and we had the committee chairs, each committee could have a table, because there are those people who come and apply to everything.
Oh,
So they can
Yeah.
come and really talk to
Be great
Rachel
for
and
our
Josh,
that's
and
not okay, that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
maybe we could do that maybe we could do that in I mean, part of the problem too is sending out the postcard, and then you have to give people time to
Yeah, right.
respond.
Yeah.
And then we have these huge, masses of people, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have big lists of people, I mean, it's not like,
Yeah, you already
maybe
have
we
a-
don't do a postcard this year, maybe we like publicize
And
it,
that-
but don't do a postcard.
You know, maybe, and to be honest, from our office perspective, if you eliminated the postcard in the even years, it would be very helpful, and then ideally, on the application, we'd say your application will be on file for 2 years unless you, so then we could re-postcard again in 21, and then kind of work from there. Cause we do have a large list yet.
And I have to say too, and one of the things that I've always felt too is if people, if they're really interested in the HRC, now we have people who come and join the committees on the HRC who are not formally appointed. And conservation has occasionally had people come who are not formally on conservation. But I mean, if you're really interested in one of these things, I mean, there is always volunteer opportunities, and I think the people who bother to come to the meetings and learn about it and show up are usually the people who, I mean, that is the best pathway if you wanna serve on a committee, instead of like putting in an application and waiting for us to pick you, and you've never been to a meeting and you don't really know what the committee's about. I mean, maybe we could send a notice to everyone on the list and say, now's the time to start attending. I mean, it would have been great to have people coming to conservation than volunteer at Fish and Feather, you know?
Is this timeline dictated by state statute or ordinances? I mean, I'm hearing like this is a really tough time. Can citizen committee assignments just be in July or June? I mean, can the whole thing just shift down, or is it tied
There's something in
to?
our ordinance.
Yeah, I
Most
figured it must be
municipalities
law
do their appointment in that
related.
May timeframe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know some other places have what they call an organizational meeting, where it's just a meeting and they do all their appointments that night, so because it can
Okay.
take time.
Right.
So yeah, so ideally, like I said, part of it is bumping off of the election, then potentially new people aren't taking office till that second Tuesday after the election. Then you're trying to have a special JPL meeting because you want to be able to provide the recommendations for the May meeting so
Right.
that they can be appointed, you know, and have training before they take office. So that's kind of all the shuffling
And
around.
where the, and
Yeah.
would be the old JPL, it could be totally different JPL.
Right.
I think I'd like to like send an invite to everyone who's on the list who was appointed, and let's set up a meeting, maybe early January, like a big meeting with all the committee chairs, and people can come and meet and talk.
Just meet people.
Just meet
That's a,
people.
not
Yeah.
interviews, just.
Why don't I bring this back to the next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my,
Yes, to bring it back to the next JPL, and I definitely know we have policy discussions,
Yeah, that's-
to kind of start, but I definitely wanted to start getting this out there so that people can start playing with the dates around in their head, because it is a time consuming time, so.
The last entry's vacancies will be filled as needed, and second.
Well, ideally,
They
so I
brought
think,
back to the JPL.
right, so I think when you know, the last meeting was like, well, let's have a few candidates, candidates, and then if there is a vacancy, you know, the second person that you may have chosen, maybe they would like it, instead of trying to go back and spend all this
Or
time.
have like a
Correct.
list.
Have like a
for
list,
that.
like
That's
these
a
are our
good
top
idea.
five.
Which we did for
Yes.
HRC.
Yeah,
And then
Right,
when
so
we
then,
had the
like, for
vacancy, we
GRB,
just
correct.
have to, yeah.
Correct.
But
That's
if
a really
we
good
all-
idea to
yes.
just have
Yes.
a list for the
yes,
year,
and
then we
you,
don't have
and
to.
then you've kind of taken the time to weed it down already, so you might as well
Go to the
Yeah.
next.
go back to it,
Yeah.
correct.
And then we all
Yeah.
feel
I was
comfortable
just
too with
reaffirm
who
the
that person
process.
is.
Yes.
that-
Yeah.
Then it
Absolutely.
goes, it's just
Yeah.
not
Yep.
some, they're all
Correct.
Those are all good suggestions.
So-
Okay,
All
I'm going
right.
to adjourn JPL.
Second.
Yay.
2 minutes behind, good work.
Thanks for inviting me to the table.
Oh.